that have been invited to be on this call have joined the call. Great to see Anthony Ramirez. We've got Jessica Shanan in Tampa. Victoria, great to see you down in Aventura. Dominic, great to see you, my friend, pilot sales manager in Atlanta. We've got Andy Noggle out there, our division coordinator in Virginia. Good to see you, Andy. Over 100 people right now on the call, it looks like, with more joining. Division managers, take a peek. Let's make sure that we have everybody on board for what's going to be a fantastic call. Jeffrey, I say we get this started, and I'll kick things off once the music stops. All right. Good morning, everybody. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Scott Dennis. I am the very proud region manager of the Eastern region for Vector Marketing. Our company is divided into 6 different regions. Our region includes the state of Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, parts of Alabama and West Virginia, also the island of Puerto Rico. And so we have people from all of those parts of the country on this call today. I started with the company 34 years ago as a college student at the University of Notre Dame, doing the exact same thing that you're doing right now, and that's selling the world's finest cutlery. Little did I know when I started that there would be additional opportunities in management, in leadership, while I was still in school that could develop my skill set, enhance my resume, and really separate me from my peers. And that experience I had with the company 30 plus years ago when I was in school opened all kinds of doors for me, both in the business and outside of the business as well. And that's why we're having this call today, everyone, to further enlighten you on opportunities that could be available to you moving forward as you continue to work with Cutco through college, or at least your college-aged years. And we have the perfect person to discuss these opportunities further with you, and that is our division manager from the Florida United Division, Mr. Jeff Gamboa. And Jeff started with us back in 1997. That was 27 years ago in his hometown of Baltimore, Maryland. He was the #1 All-American Scholarship winner that summer. That means that out of all the students nationwide who sold Cutco that summer, he finished #1, and we have an All-American Scholarship race that's available to all of you this summer as well. Jeff had the opportunity to pursue Cutco through his college years. He participated in the Leadership Academy. He had the opportunity to be a branch manager, was one of the top 25 branches in the nation as a college student. We'll talk a little bit more about branch on this call. After graduating from the University of Maryland as a pre-med student, he had all kinds of opportunities to consider outside of the business, thanks to his experience with Cutco. He decided to become a district manager in his hometown of Baltimore. He excelled in that role and very quickly became the division manager of the DC Metro Division. And then several years later, he was given a bigger opportunity to be our division manager of what's now the Florida United Division. He's had an illustrious career with our company. He is a Hall of Fame member. He's one of only 3 division managers in our entire company with over $100 million in career sales. The people in his organizations have sold $100 million plus. That's a lot of Cutco knives. On a personal note, Jeff is very active in his church in Miami. He serves as the president of the Miami chapter of a Catholic organization of professional lay people. He and his wife, Dr. Heidi Gamboa, they have 2 daughters, Addie and Mina, and in 1 month, 3 or 4 weeks from now, they're expecting their 3rd child. So the Gamboa family is growing. So to talk about Cutco through college and also the branch manager opportunity, I give you division manager, Jeff Gamboa. Jeffrey.
Scott, thank you. Yeah, I know that my wife's expecting, and I know that it's coming, but it's our push week, no pun intended. You guys get it? Okay. Anyhow, hey, happy Monday, the 24th at 9:30 a.m. Before I get started, I just want to say something that I say to our division of Florida United all the time. This is my 28th summer, 27th year, and it never gets old to see young people hustling. It never gets old to see young people do more than others their age. And it never gets old to see people who want to separate themselves. And if you're here at 9:30 on this region call, that's precisely what you're doing, is you're separating yourself. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time. And thank you for allowing me to talk about a topic that, not just near and dear to my heart, not just something that is one of 7 division managers we are passionate about, not just a topic that Scott Dennis, our fearless leader, is so wonderfully promoting to help enhance the lives of young people, but I lived it. This whole Cutco through college experience, the branch manager opportunity that we're going to talk about today, I want to share with you. I am here today. The success that I have or have had and will have, I would say, the family that I now have, both business and in personal, the man and human that I am, the husband, leader, father that I am, has all to do with Cutco through college and running this amazing branch starter program that back in 1999, well before any of you were born, or most of you anyway. So if you wouldn't mind, I want to share with you a few thoughts. This slide deck is actually going to be sent to you. So you don't need to worry about screenshotting. If there's a slide that you really feel like pulls at your heartstrings or really is one of those light bulb moments for you, great. Pay attention because you're going to get the links. You're also going to get a link to a podcast that I'm going to reference here today. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you can hear me today. Give me a thumbs up, okay? And give me a thumbs up if you're excited to hear about future opportunities. It sounds like that. Okay. And Scott, how awesome. We have just under 150 people here wanting to learn about the opportunity. So I want to start with this concept, and this concept might be the number one thing you get from this call, is the 5-star graduate concept. A 5-star graduate is our version of what we call a 5-star athlete. And if you're familiar with sports, there are 5-star athletes across the country, young women and men who are the best of the best in their sport. And when they graduate, they don't have to worry about looking for schools because the schools will ultimately want to recruit them because they're so talented, because they're so amazing at their sport. 5-star graduates, or 5-star athletes rather. For us in Vector Marketing, we know that there's only a fraction of you here who are actually athletes, and probably a fraction of that fraction are even close to 4 or 5-star athletes. But what I want to tell you is that everyone here, if and when you're willing to put the work in and allow us to support you, everyone on this call can be a 5-star graduate. What does that mean? When you graduate as a pre-med major, when you graduate as pre-law, when that young woman wants to become an entrepreneur, that young man wants to be a nurse or some type of engineer, I want to tell you that our students are getting the best job offers. Our students, our 5-star graduates, are getting the most job offers. Our students are getting the jobs of their dreams. And I can give you example after example after example of what the 5-star graduate and Cutco Through College program can do for you. I'm going to talk to you today about our management training program. And that's really the works and the gears behind everything. More or less, we are providing CEO and leadership training for young people that they can participate in multiple times throughout their collegiate career. And ultimately, as the sign says here, as the screen says here, to become the best version of you. Okay. So today, and humor me, some of you have never seen me or met me before. If there is a moment for you where a slide goes up and you go, man, that really hits home, or I can relate and I understand, and that's exactly what I needed to hear, or anything in between, do me a favor, give me like a light bulb moment where you go, oh my gosh, like that. So everyone humor me real quick. Give me like a light bulb, like, psh, psh, thanks, Jaden. I know you would. Okay, Jaden's from my team. Psh, psh, okay. And it helps me get excited. I've got this gigantic screen with all of you, and it gets me fired up to see you guys, taking from the message. I think it's important to know that when I started with the company, and I always start with these incriminating high school photos back with a stronger hairline, thicker hair, and our CEO, who back then wasn't the CEO, Aldia Leonardo, right in the middle. I started in 1997. I was a pre-med major who was looking to make money at first, but then found out quickly that I could use this company. I could use Cutco through college. I could certainly use the branch manager opportunity, and I could use all the experiences here to further my resume. And then when I graduated, I wanted to be that guy who had the most job offers, but the best job offers. And I wanted to be that guy who had options, not trying to hope and wish that I would have an opportunity to be in med school or get a job. And fast forward, I want to tell you, when I graduated from college, having been an assistant manager, having been a branch startup internship manager, having gone through multiple summers of selling Cutco and being an all-American scholarship winner, and having all this experience from management training, 3 years in my college career, I went on 15 different job interviews, right? 3 business schools, 3 med schools, 3 grad schools, and about 6 or 7 really high-end sales jobs. Pharmaceutical sales, to be specific, was the big thing for me. And I'm happy to say that all 15 of my interviews were a yes. I got into the school, I got into the jobs, and this is as a pre-med major with sales experience. But this is the part I want to share with you before we go in today. And hear me right, please. Only three out of all 15 interviews, med schools, business schools, sales jobs, only 3 asked me what my major was. And only 2 bothered to ask me what my GPA was. And it was really high. It was a really high GPA. But it seemed like only 2 out of the 15 real life job opportunities and school opportunities even cared. But all 15 asked me about my Cutco experience through college. They all asked me about selling kitchen cutlery, why I chose to do it. They all asked me about the skills that I learned and some examples of how I use that in my life. And every single one, including, ready, med schools of all things, asked me about the Cutco branch startup opportunity, running a Cutco college student knife sales office. And those were some of the things, those unique experiences that I got a chance to talk about during my interview. And so I want to take some time to talk about why Cutco Through College is important, why we offer it, what it can be for you. And I also want to, rewind here on my med school interview with Dr. Clavon for the University of Maryland. I'll never forget this. He said, young man, why would you not spend your summers working in a hospital, getting hospital experience like everyone else who's applying? That was more or less what he said. And my answer was, with this confidence, I met with thousands of Mac customers and Cutco Through College and branch manager experience. I said, well, respectfully, sir, the fact that you're asking me is exactly why I did it, because I wanted to be different on my resume. And also, if I'm going to be a physician one day, I don't just want to learn the great medical terms and how to be a great doctor, which I would get if I were in your school or when I'll be in your school, right? But I want to let you know that I ultimately want to run my own private practice, and those business skills aren't necessarily going to be taught. So I wanted to get those skills early. And his answer was, that was one of the best answers I've ever heard in all of my interviewing years for med school. And so I hope we can create some type of story similar to that for you. And so I want to take just a few moments to talk about why we believe, not necessarily why you should, but why we believe that Cutco Through College is so important. And let me explain something. Cutco Through College is when someone, perhaps on this call, decides that, okay, this is going to go from, I'm just going to make a lot of money, or I'm going to go on this Jamaica trip. By the way, thank you, Scott, for that. This Jamaica trip on this company, it's going to be awesome. It's going to go from that. And Cutco Through College says, I'm going to use this opportunity over the next several semesters and summers before I graduate to make the money I want to make, to be financially independent, so money, to gain the resume that I need to stand out, so there, experience what I need to grow, and the skill sets and confidence, so that when I graduate, I can become, like I just mentioned prior, that 5-star graduate. So that's what Cutco Through College is. It doesn't mean change your major to sales. It doesn't mean forget what you want to do after college. It means, what can you use us for to help get what you want faster, stronger, and better? Give me a light bulb if that makes sense. Okay. Beautiful. Why Cutco Through College? Because many powerhouse organizations have a management training program similar. Okay. In fact, if you go to Harvard Business School online, you can apply for, it looks very much like our version of Leadership Academy. Develop the leadership skills to advance your career, team, and organization. I don't know. That sounds exactly like what we do. Okay. And I want to tell you, we're not rivaling. We're not saying that we are Harvard, Amazon, Nike, and these great companies. But I'm telling you, all smart businesses and smart institutions have programs to develop talent. That's what this is. It's developing the talent from within, which from a business standpoint, it also creates great leaders for us after college, but also it just makes people better. And I think that's what great companies and great students do. In fact, you may not know this fun fact, but Vector Marketing is the largest college student recruiting company in North America. What does that mean? It means no other organization in the country works with more people your age than we do. The only organizations that beat us literally are colleges, like schools, because they work with students. Outside of schooling, no one works with more of this demographic than we do. So why is that very unique to what we're talking about with management training program? It's because we really believe that we impact America. And I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but all of you technically are under what's called Generation Z. You guys know that, right? You're the generation, the first generation to be born into full technology. And I pulled this up this morning. Check this out. It says the current 18-year-olds are part of Gen Z. So it explains who they are, the Zoomers, if you will. And this is very, very interesting, and why I'm so proud that we have this Cutco Through College and branch program. It says Gen Z is known for being highly motivated. So that's awesome. And more risk averse, which means they don't take a lot of risks. And I think what's so great about Cutco through college, it allows you to take an unbelievably awesome risk that's safe and controlled and has lots of experience and backing behind it with our leadership, but also will give you generational, I really mean generational experience when you go into your later years. That's what I'm excited about. So hopefully, is that a light bulb for some of you? Yeah, maybe a couple of you. Oh, a lot of you. That's good. Why do we have Cutco through college? Why do people choose to choose us over the next several semesters? Well, this is an article, and I've been here for almost 3 decades. This article never gets old. This is, I believe, 2002, Scott, if you remember this one. But this is the USA Today. And I want to preface this. I know this article might be old technically, 2002, but what I will tell you, statistically, data-wise, doesn't matter what you believe in politically, the economy is worse than back then. Like it's trending down, meaning it is harder to find jobs now than it was back then. And if you take a look, things like only 2 in 5 people get a job after graduating. That's a scary statistic. It might be the same. It might be a little better, a little bit worse. But just to think, only 40% of people who apply for jobs or med schools or whatever it is after, if you turn your head sideways towards your left, it says the average months needed to find a job is 8 months. I know several friends and family members who perhaps don't have a lot of great experience. And, they're still living with mom and dad 1 year later, 2 years later to save money before they find a job. So hopefully that's a light bulb. Why Cutco through college matters. Why do we have Cutco through college? It's because even Harvard themselves says, this is from Harvard Business Review, that the U.S. education system must be reevaluated to be better, to prepare students with employable skills. So let me just say that in like 9:49 a.m. talk, okay? It means most colleges are teaching you great things, and a lot of them are teaching the things you need to check off the boxes for your specific majors. But one thing that even Harvard is saying is that a lot of times the skills that you might need that are not within your major, or I don't know, to live life, are not necessarily taught. How to balance money, how to live a healthy life, how to have fitness and energy. Those are things that we love to talk about, we teach, but aren't necessarily taught. In fact, I will tell you, I was a pre-med major. I had a really high GPA. I could tell you about SN2 organic chemistry reactions. All you organic nerds out there, shout out to you. I could tell you about, protein synthesis. I could tell you about ATP. I could tell you about all that. But at that time, before my Cutco experience, I couldn't tell you how to impact my credit score, how to put money into the stock market, and what to do with my first $10,000, $20,000 in savings. So just food for thought. In fact, this is another article from Wall Street Journal, and it talks about the youth love to be into the entrepreneurial realm. In fact, now more than ever, with social media, with YouTube, with TikTok, with all these platforms, being an entrepreneur is one of the hot topics. In fact, everyone I hear, like 1 in every 3, I believe this, 1 in every 3 people I talk to, what do you want to do? Well, I want to run business. I want to be a business owner. I want to have multiple streams of income. I want to do real estate. And they say all these great things, but they don't have one bit of way, one opportunity to do it, to learn about those things, aside from clicking on a YouTube. You guys understand that? You guys see that? And so what I love about this article, it specifically talks about Cutco in the article, by the way. And it talks about how students who have done Cutco, whether it's through college, running a branch office ideally, they're shortening the process. So what I want to share with you, and this is my light bulb, hopefully over here, is whatever you want, and I'll take the screen down so you can see me, okay? All right. So whatever it is that you want, med school, business, financial independence, and wherever you are, there's a little bit of that gap that school fills in, but there's a lot of that gap that you guys have no direction and no place to go to fill that gap. And that's what we want to do. We want to fill that gap. Okay. So is that a light bulb, everybody? Our goal is not to make you become Cutco sales professionals and district managers. Although, Scott, we will do our best to get as many of them to be so. But for us, it's how can we fill that gap for you so that you become better because of it? We have Cutco through college because in this specific article, one of my favorite, one of our Cutco alumni, one of our greatest Cutco alumni, Mr. John Roman, who's a very successful entrepreneur, we'll just say that. He interviews in this article the CEO or former CEO of Priceline.com, one of the biggest competitors, at least for over the last decade or two. If you know Expedia, Priceline and Expedia are the two head-to-head competitors. And this article talks about, hey, if you want to be successful, learn how to solve problems and partner up with good people. And that's exactly why we have Cutco through college, to help people learn how to work through problems, overcome challenges. In this case, right, this summer, the challenge might be, how do you get your recommendations up? It might be, how do I get ready for this big push week? How do I overcome 4 no sales? all the way up to how do I, as a branch manager, overcome lack of recruiting efficiency and low return on investment on my mailers. If you guys know what that means, some of you are on the call and know what that means. So again, that's what we have Leadership Academy. So like, hopefully light bulb there for some of you. Last few, Cutco Through College. Why do we have Cutco Through College? And this is if you know me, this is a Jeff Gambo staple. It's because circles of influence are probably the most important decisions in your life. So if you look at the screen, all I'm really trying to say on this screen, on this slide, is that the 3 to 5 people that you learn with, AKA your peers, the people you spend the most time with, have a direct influence in who you become and who you are. The 3 to 5 people that you take advice from, that you learn from, your mentors, so to speak, have a direct impact on who you are and how you are. And then the third one, all the way to the right, the 3 to 5 people that you teach for, that you mentor, will have a direct relationship towards your future. And it's interesting because most people your age, 18 to 25, even up to 30, don't even really have that third circle, which is teach for, people that you would mentor. But how awesome is it that in our position, in our business, from assistant manager, intern, to branch manager, to district manager, literally that is all we do, is teach for people. And so what I'm trying to share with you is that it is statistically proven that the 5 people that you surround yourself the most will ultimately impact who you are. If you're around a lot of broke people, so goes you. You ever notice someone who's like really in shape and their closest friends are also fit? You ever notice someone who's always like struggling and like paying rent and going out and spending money they don't have? They're usually hanging out with the same friends, dropping money on bottles at clubs that they can't afford also together. Like it's kind of like this, hey, let's all go downwards together. And so one of the things I love is look at our circles of influence. This is, this was 72 hours ago in our division. This is in Fort Myers, Florida, at our summer conference 1. And so you've got 18 to 25, 18 to 23-year-olds, just under 70 or 80 rather, wanting to learn, wanting to be better, suiting up like professionals, engaged in a professional leadership summer conference 1. You've got, how about this for a circle of influence? Look at this was our assistant manager promotions for the summer so far. Just thinking about being around other like-minded, excited people who want the best for themselves, but who ironically enough want the best for you too. That's pretty cool. This I just wanted to throw in because I love this. I love Cutco, and no, I'm not selling Cutco again, but Scott, that was our cutting clinic. How cool is that? Anyhow, we did a lot of cutting. Circles of influence. How cool is it? Ready? I'm going to show you some pictures. So this is every year for the last 27 years of my life. We have conferences like this for summer. We find the best people who advance like this. They ultimately talk to me or the respective division manager, and all that over the next several years turns into this, turns into this, turns into this, right? Turns into this. Managers who are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old leading peers, and it is bad to the bone. It is awesome to see. And in fact, I'll take this picture, and I know several people from our division in the front row, second row, third row, excited to see who in the next couple of summers or next couple of months go to this photo, which is leadership and management. So is that a light bulb for some people here too? I'm hoping. Okay, last few. And then I'll give you some details on the branch manager opportunity. Why Cutco Through College? Because I could give you 3 or 4 articles. I'll give you 3 where all it says is skills are more important than a degree. Skills are more important than a degree. Why? This one says why practical skills will matter more than your degree in the economy. This one, our former president says he actually signed an order to prioritize job skills over college degree in government hiring. Think about that. Regardless of your political opinion, one of the greatest real estate developers and businessmen of our time is saying, look, it's so important that people hire based on skills, not degree. Skills, not degree. This one, creative skills that you can create over degree. This article in CNBC, skills, not degree. Skills, not degree. So I go forth. So this is an oldie but goodie. Florida United, you've heard this and seen this 10 times. I hope this is the 11, 12, and 13th for you. But think about this. What's better, graduating and then working hard to separate yourself for 3, 4, 5 decades to finally make it, and we'll say financially 6 figures, because that seems to be a sexy number that implies financial success, right? So work 3, 4, 5 decades to work you up the ladder, or this is the vector way. This is the Cutco Through College way. While you're in college, the 2 to 3 years that you're with us, do things to gain more skills and become more marketable, so you're off to a faster start when you get out of college. That's the model. That's our way. That's the Cutco Through College way. Is that a light bulb there? Right there? Okay. So if any of this right now, and I'll stop right here. If any of this is enticing to you, if you are on the Zoom saying, "Dan, that's me," or if you're on the Zoom saying, "Oh, I'd like to separate myself," if you're on the Zoom saying, "Hey, I'm a competitor and I just want to do things that are harder because that's just who I am and that's how I was raised." Well, I encourage you to take a listen at this podcast. One of our great division managers, one of the legends of our business, Mr. Dan Cassetta, has facilitated over the last several years a Changing Lives Selling Knives podcast, where he's interviewing successful Cutco Through College alumni, current managers. And in this situation, this is a episode 121, where I am interviewed and I go through an extended version of not just what Cutco Through College is. I think you get the point, but more importantly, how does it work with every major? How do different types of students, from engineers to pre-med majors to entrepreneurs to I don't know what I want to do with my life, how they can all use CutcoThruCollege Through College. I encourage you to listen to it. It's worth a listen to. And here's a little tidbit. If you want to separate yourself, networking is key, right? It's not what you know, it's who you know. Listen to it. If you feel like it's really hitting with you, go send a text message to your division manager and tell them that, hey, I'm excited about this and this is what I'd like to gain from the company. That's a good networking technique there. So again, for all majors. And before I dive into our management training program for the last part of the call here, I want to share two versions. And again, you have all these slides, so don't stress getting the screenshots. Two versions of what the branch manager training or the management training track can look like. The majority of you that are brand new, this summer would be about selling and getting to Dirty 30 and above as high as possible, and then earning a spot into management training program. Okay, some of you in some of your divisions, it's called management training program, and our division is called BMT branch manager training program. It's the same thing. And then the goal is to get into that training program for the fall and spring. Then second summer, the top 20% or top 20 to 30% of our management training class would get accepted to run the branch startup program, which I'll talk about. And that's running a business and how to build it from scratch. And then the next fall and spring, they would go, that this young woman or young man will go through management training program a second time, and then choose to either come back and run a branch again so they can learn and put on the resume, not that they just built a branch one summer, but they learned how to grow that same business the second summer. Or what they'll do is they'll mentor and shadow and work along side to side with one of our Cutco sales professionals to learn about an independent selling business. And then when they graduate, again, like we've been talking about, they go ahead and use their resume and personal and experience to become a 5-star graduate, get the job of their dreams, go 10 for 10, 6 for 6, accepted for everything. And if they're that good for the world, if they're that talented in their industry, I would imagine we're also going to want them to entertain a potential post-college job or even a career opportunity with us, which is our district manager opportunity. That's in management, and our Cutco sales professional, that's in direct sales. That's not this Zoom. We could probably spend a whole hour on the details of both. But if you find that you're being offered district manager and Cutco sales professional opportunities by your division manager, by Mr. Scott Dennis, who's on the call, that's just a compliment to you, because it means that you're probably a 5-star graduate getting other offers as well. And then I want to show you one more track. This is an accelerated track. This is a track for individuals where school might not be for you. Maybe school is not really part of what's going to help you get what you want. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, for example, about a third maybe of our entrepreneurial minded students don't necessarily need college to do what they want to do. Well, if that's the case, we just have a track where a student can get into management training program this fall. And then the next summer, they can directly go into one of our career positions, district or Cutco sales professional. Okay. So right now, do me a favor. We're on the second half of the call here, and I'm going to go into more details. Take about 60 seconds, and I want you to write down things that are coming up for you. What's exciting? And I'm doing this. I want to help you out because I want to create a list that you can go to your manager with. What is exciting for you? What is something that you didn't think about that you just became aware of today? What's a light bulb moment for you in regards to Cutco Through College? And maybe the question could be, how does this tie into what you want to do? How can we help you do what you want to do? Take about 30 seconds. Another 10 seconds. What could Cutco Through College do for you? What's something you're thinking about that you weren't thinking about before this call? What's a position that I've mentioned once or twice that maybe is, I don't know, of interest or definitely something you want to do? All right. So now what I want to do is I want to give you a little bit more detail, right? Who'd be excited to hear some detail on the management training program? Okay, good. One of you went like this. Okay, got it. So our management training program, and you can write this down, is an 8-month program that starts in September. It's an 8-month program that starts in September. In the next several weeks, the division manager team, myself, along with the other 6 wonderful gentlemen that run the entire Eastern region under the leadership of Mr. Scott Dennis, will be looking for talent. CPO talk. So what you're selling right now for push weeks, what you're doing for your post-conference pop contest right now, what you're doing to transition through and navigate through the 4th of July holiday. And most importantly, what you're doing to prepare and execute a summer conference to push in July. All those things matter. You posting on your WhatsApp chats and your group chats matter. Being on the newsletter, it matters right now. So our management training program will start in September. The interviews for our program will happen in the beginning of August, right after our great summer conference 2 in Atlanta, Georgia. Just a friendly plug. It is a Super Bowl of all conferences. Your managers will be talking more and more about it in the next several days, but do your best to get invited. It is a life-altering experience. And if you want to be in our management training program, literally you have to be there, right? So food for thought. So it starts in September and goes through the following year. And there are 3 basic benefits and elements of management training program. You know, I would say for me, all 3 were very important for me, but you'll see no matter how you're wired, there's something for everyone in management training. Okay. And just the training alone is worth it. So the first part of what people get from management training is our coveted Leadership Academy. Raise your hand if you've heard of TLA, Leadership Academy. A couple of you. Okay. So Leadership Academy for us, in a nutshell, is part of the program where we teach you the skills you don't always learn in school. Okay. So these are worked into our program. During the 8 months, we have weekly sessions. Some are live, some are on Zoom. We have weekly sessions at a local office. We have monthly sessions live with your division manager. All of those combined, part of it is Leadership Academy. And during that, if you take a look, these are the skills that we cover. Essentially, how do you manage and become more proficient at managing time, money, energy, people, and the most important thing to manage is yourself. So let me give you just a sneak peek of some of the hot topics that people love when they're in management training program, when they specifically go through Leadership Academy. Well, time, they love the executive time management pieces that we teach. How does someone who is running a multi-million-dollar company with multiple businesses, well, you know, this and that, how are they keeping everything organized? But we do that from an executive level. I would say by far top 2 topics are money and energy, or money and people rather. From the money side of things, how to manage credit score, impact credit score, how to buy a home before 25. I have a district manager, Mace Linker, who is 1.5 years removed from college, already bought his first property. By the end of this year, it'll be a second property. And he learned a lot of those, what do you call it? Mortgage skills and credit score skills through our Leadership Academy. Energy. I'm a big fitness freak. You know, I love fitness, anything about energy and getting people more energy. So we cover things like diet plans. We cover things like how to manage energy in the morning, fitness plans, how to manage people. Our favorite topic, I would say, is public speaking, how to be a great public speaker. And one of the topics that I think people love is just self-management, how to create goals, how to stay motivated, how to manage mental health. And when I see this picture, this is one of our management training programs. Leadership Academy is just such an awesome opportunity for people to learn these skills, but with other great people. So that would be perk number 1 of management training program. Perk number 2, events training and being exposed to the realm of Cutco sales professional. So what I love right now is all of you are learning what I call the college student model of selling Cutco, trying to get to dirty 30, as high as you can above that for different promotions. When you get into management training program, we take that to a whole new level and we expose you to the Cutco sales professionals. These are the men and women who sell our great Cutco product, not just in the home to moms and dads around semesters at school. These are professionals who are doing this on a year-round basis as a career. You might have heard the names of like Ray Reed, Justin Ford, the great Andy Janti, just to name a few, who are making 6 figures plus with our product. And so what our management training program attendees are allowed to be exposed to are things like our fair and show and events program. So I don't know if you've seen a picture like this before, but how amazing, if you know Cutco, this is really only for Cutco people. That is just awesome to look at. Can you imagine walking into something like that? That is a fair and show. In this case, I believe it's a boat show. This is, I think, the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show for us in that Florida United. And so can you imagine a weekend where you're standing behind the booth, learning the fast-paced action of closing sales with customers, and in this specific situation, over the weekend, selling almost $100,000 worth of Cutco in 3 days. Like, to me, that's an exciting opportunity, but you'd be exposed to that if you are in a management training program. You'd be exposed to our small show events program. This is, for example, one of our shows, a smaller show, not necessarily a convention center, but like a farmer's market or some type of different types of festivals across your local geographical location. Also, part of that events training is learning how to do service events. Can you imagine this? Here's a cool scenario. Imagine having a whole network of customers who already have Cutco that want their knives sharpened. Instead of sending them back, they come to a hotel or some type of an office where the products are all set up. There's brunch on the side, food for the moms. They come in, and as they're getting their knives sharpened by one of the assistants, they're walking around with you as one of our management training programs or one of our CSPs, and they're helping them upgrade orders to get more gifts for later. How cool is that? Okay. And in addition to that, our management training program members would also learn the right way and the professional way to do service calls and sharpen the product. And then third, and what I want to end with and talk about more detail on, is the third perk of being part of management training is that it guarantees you a position in paid management for the summer of 2025. So our management training program starts in September. From September all the way until December, everyone is almost like jockeying for position, right? Who's selling the most? Who's saving the most money? Who's showing the best skills during Leadership Academy? Who's showing the best skills during the Cutco portion of the training? And as we go through, the top 20% will get selected for one position called branch manager, and everyone else who doesn't get selected for branch will get an opportunity to become a paid assistant manager. So for our assistant managers, that's like 70 or 80% of management training. That following summer, they would have a chance to learn the business, support from behind the scenes, help learn the business for the following summer so they can learn how to branch. And more importantly, these are individuals who get front row seats, I would say, for branch manager or management training interviews for the following years. It's an awesome position. I was an assistant manager during my fall and springs, and I will tell you, it's definitely a fun place to be when you can peek behind the curtain instead of being on the sales side, not just the sales sides, but learning how the business runs. And that would be for the majority of our management training. But, and I want to take my screen down for this, if you are an A player, if you are a go-getter, if you are an overachiever, or if you're just aspiring to do something that is unique, different, and powerful, those in management training, the top 20% get a chance to become a branch manager. So for those of you that aren't familiar, our branch manager position is a 4-month entrepreneur startup position where the company helps to fund, along with the student's own personal savings, to run a real business for the summer of 2025. These are 18, 19, and 20, 21-year-old students who started selling Cutco one summer before, got into management training, went through Leadership Academy, went through CSP exposure with events and service training, went through the Cutco business training, and was top 20% in their class. And what happens is they get a chance to run a Cutco startup. They would be in charge. This young boss lady, young boss man, right? CEO would be running all operations, recruiting, marketing, training, development, Salesforce development. And it is awesome. It is, when I think of every 5-star graduate who's gone on to get the jobs that they want in our organizations, and I mean our, not just Florida United, I mean up and down the East Coast, they all have branch 1 or 2 times under their belt. So a branch manager right now means that anyone on this Zoom, with making the right moves this summer, if you're really excited to be one of the best, you could be running a branch office in the summer of 2025. And, you know, I think the easiest way to explain it, it's really just a startup. And I want to share a few thoughts on why I think that's so awesome. First of all, the number one thing people love about branch, it is fun. It is fun to work with peers who are trying to start a business. It is fun to train and develop people. It is fun. This is Luke Maseka, one of our University of Florida branches at the time, managing his team. And I think they had like a, the theme of this meeting, I think it was like, don't sleep on Fort Lauderdale team meeting. So everyone came in their pajamas and they had like a big push week. So how cool is that? And what's interesting is Luke was running this team, but half the team was older than him. How cool was that? And I love, you know, this is a picture from our meeting on Friday of some of our branch managers with their teams. And you'll see in the very front, there's two gentlemen leaning. There are two gentlemen leaning. There's Adam and Matt, gray and black suit respectively. 1 year ago, last year, they were at this meeting as reps taking notes, excited on a Zoom like this about being a branch manager. And here they are with their team, their branch teams, along with their district manager, Miss Jessica Shannon. And this is a cool photo. So this is Matt Rizzo. Last year, I met Matt Rizzo at one of our conferences in June. He was one of our, he had started later on in the summer, and he ended up becoming an SC2 push trophy winner, got into management training program, accelerated while playing D1 soccer, by the way. So we learned how to do time management, and then got accepted for a branch startup. And here he is running the Naples organization. He's currently one of the top 10 offices in the country. And even better, my biggest point, these are his 2 reps that he trained, that he recruited, that he developed, winning their SC1 push trophy. So maybe that's a light bulb, like the ability to be a boss, the ability to run a startup, the ability to be in charge and lead people. It's awesome. So in the last few moments here, how does a branch manager get started? Well, they get started with the help of the company and with the help of their own funding. Okay. Like any startup, there's a startup that they would incur. So these students are raising money to build money, for their personal expenses. So where they're going to live, how they're going to eat. There's also a chance for them to, not a chance. They'll get supported by the company. They'll have anywhere between $6,000 to $10,000 in support, depending on their situation. And it's awesome. It's a real business. I always get the question, what does a branch manager do? Well, pretty straightforward. Anything that is related to the business of vector marketing, college student Salesforce management. So they're in charge of recruiting. That means all interviews and marketing. They're responsible for the 2-day training seminar and all the fast start training that goes after that. They're responsible for managing sales. My favorite, they're responsible for managing young people to get the same opportunity as them. And of course, they're responsible for creating sales leaders in their division. For those of you that are currently here that are branches, and I want to applaud you, you guys know this, at the top of the list of why branch is so awesome is you're running a real business, not theory. One of my district managers, actually, I think I see her, is Victoria. Victoria just got her MBA. So she's really smart, okay, at the University of Tampa. And we would joke, and she's a district manager now, by the way. She was a 5-star graduate and chose to be with us after college. And we joke all the time of these, theory classes she would take for her MBA, where they would say, all right, well, let's pretend you have this company, and here's the model, and here's the theory, and here's how much budget you would have. What would you do? And they would do like a presentation for their grade at the end. And, in our division in Florida United, we always like to say, oh, that's cute. Or that's cute. That's a cute pretend business. What branches love is that they're running literally a real live business with real money, with real people, with real consequences, with real impact. And that's awesome. And I think that's probably one of the top things that people like. As a branch manager, one of the benefits is that it's relevance on your resume, not just experience, not just things I did, check, talk about it senseless, with no sense whatsoever, but relevance. Like, oh, I ran a branch office, and what I was able to do is I started from nothing. I developed and recruited and trained a sales force of 50 to 60 students over the summer. From zero, we developed over $115,000 worth of Cutco Kitchen sales based on one-on-one direct marketing, where lead generation was required from the rep independently. I was responsible for developing 5 more management training candidates for the following summer, and I did that 2 summers in a row before I graduated. I've interviewed over 300 people within 2 months, and I'm now responsible for a blank amount in sales. Like, to me, relevance over just checking the experience. And then last 3 things, of course, is personal growth, the ability to be a boss, but not just a boss to talk down at people, because that's certainly not what we do, but to be a leader, to lift people up, to be a leader, to help people grow, to be an inspirational 19-year-old that says, hey, I was here last year, look where I am now. And my job, in fact, I get paid more when I help you get where I'm at and get what I'm getting. What a great model. Personal development, personal growth. Branches, I can't wait to see what happens when you go to school this fall and how much more developed you've become in the last year. And also, last thing, my dad used to always say, hey, when you graduate, you want to have a lot of options. Our branch managers are creating district manager and Cutco sales professional options for the future. Because obviously, if they're really talented and become 5-star graduates, we would want to offer them an opportunity as well. And then I want to actually end with what I started with. It's just fun. It's just fun. And, I'm removed, right? I'm 46, not 19 anymore. And I actually ran my branch when I was 21. So 25 years ago, I ran a branch in Howard County, Maryland. Most of you probably have no idea where that is. It's a suburb off near Baltimore, okay, where I'm from. And I don't remember everything in my branch. I felt like it was so long ago, but the things I remember vividly were the people in my branch. The things I remember vividly were doing like team night outs where we went to bowl and people will come up to me and say, man, you're the greatest boss I've ever had. And feeling like, like nodding my head. And it's like, yeah, thank you. And then turning around, going to the bathroom, like crying like a baby, like that. Or people at the end of the summer where Ben Shirley Quirk's mom, at the end of my summer, we decided to do a team night at the house. They were adamant about cooking. We went over and it was really just a surprise party. My branch had 12 people on my team. My branch just threw me a surprise party to say thank you for an amazing summer, right? I still keep in touch with some of these people today who are now successful people in their lives, in their majors, in their field of study. They have families now. And I just remember thinking, gosh, when I was 19 years old, I was really working and helping these people. I was the one that was going bowling with them. I was the one running PCs. I was the one helping them through SE2 push and the stuff that was hard and helping them win trophies. It was an awesome experience. So with that being said, is that a light bulb here? Just some clarity there? Okay. So what's next? I'll turn things over to Mr. Dennis. What's next? Well, there's a lot of summer performance left. SE2 push is coming up. And mind you, I know it's not right there. It's almost a little less than a month away. We've got post-conference pop, and this is in order. Post-conference pop, and all of you have your respective contests. You've got some version of a division meeting in the next 2 weeks to get ready for the SE2 push. We're navigating sales around the holidays. And then, of course, the start to SE2 push. All 4 of those items are under the banner of CPO Talks. What's next is the more you're selling, the more consistent you are, the more your division manager will know who you are, the more Mr. Trey Harris will know who you are, the more Mr. David Vargas in Puerto Rico will know who you are, the more Mr. Darren Gardner will know who you are, Larry Manley, Andy Noggle, Ben Jackson, the great division managers from the East will know who you are, but it's based on performance. Number 2, earn an interview. And the interview details will come later on, specifically at SE2, you'll hear about it. But a little sneak peek, we'll have the push all the way into Atlanta, first weekend of August. And then immediately after, your division managers, including myself, will be touring around the state respectively to meet our top candidates and then decide who's going to get those acceptances in August. So I want to say thanks for allowing me the time to give you hopefully some light bulbs. Did we get at least 1 or 2 light bulbs out there? A couple of you? Good. Very good. Very good. So I want to encourage you the following before I turn things over to Mr. Dennis. After this, if I were on this call, I would probably reach out to 1 of 3 people. I would either reach out to my district or branch manager and tell them what I'm excited about, or your pilot sales manager if you're in a great pilot, like Miami, like Fairfax, for example. Or number 2, I would reach out to someone on your team that has been supporting you and let them know this is what I want. And number 3, if you have that connection, reach out to your division manager. Hey, Darren Gardner, this is Jeff Gamboa from the Miami office. I just wanted to reach out. I just got off the Zoom with Mr. Dennis and the division manager, and I really want to stay on your radar for opportunities. Just pay attention to me, and this is what I'm doing. By the way, here are my demos for the week. Start putting yourself out there, making a case for yourself, okay? So thanks for the opportunity. This was fun. This was not work for me today. This was easy because I believe in it, and I really believe in all of you, because if you are one of the 100 plus students on the Zoom, like literally we could have had 200 or 300, but 100 decided to be here. And that says a lot about you without having to say anything. So thanks for being here. Scott, I'll turn things back to you.
All right, let's give Jeff Gamboa a hand. Thank you, Jeff, for taking the time to share these opportunities with these fantastic young people. I know during Jeff's message, he had you take some notes on some light bulbs. What I'd love to see you do, just so I can get a sense for what really resonated with the group today, I'd like you to post in the chat something that really spoke to you. Maybe it's a light bulb that you jotted down. Maybe it's an opportunity that you're leaving the call here in just a little bit more excited about. Maybe it's a concept that Jeff shared that really connected with you. Go ahead and post that in the chat. What was the biggest light bulb, the biggest thing that resonated? Something that maybe you're more interested in than before. I see skills being greater than a degree, being a 5-star graduate, filling that gap, resume relevance over just experience. That was a great point there, Jeffrey. Circle of influence, the 3 different versions of that Jeff talked about. Learning how to manage others, especially at a young age. seen skills over degree quite a bit. So many examples of that, running an actual business. Excellent. I love to see all those takeaways coming off of this call. Very, very good. Well, at the time that we have left, everyone, I want to share some insights on what you can do from here after this call. Jeff talked about it a little bit, but I want to really take it home for you. What can you do after this call? And I see the chat continuing to blow up there. What can you do if you're interested in any of the opportunities that Jeff just presented? And first and foremost, if you're interested in the Leadership Academy aspect of what Jeff talked about, if you're interested in earning a spot in management training, which I also want to emphasize, management training is very part-time during the fall and the spring around classes. It can be done locally. It can be done while you're away at school. If you're interested in these things, as Jeff said a little earlier, make sure you let your manager know. They need to know. If the idea of being a branch manager at some point in your Cutco through college journey is something that you could see yourself being excited about. And by the way, branch is the ultimate experience for a college student in America today. It just really is. If that's something that's kind of caught your attention, you got to let your manager know. Here's why. If they know these things, if they know you want to be considered for them, they're going to better align with you in helping you to do the things that you need to do to make that happen. And what you're going to want to do with the remainder of the summer is to do everything you can to be as impressive as possible and to get on the radar of your division manager. And Jeff referenced that as well. And by now you should know who your division manager is, but this is our fantastic division manager team in Virginia. We have Andy Noggle. In Carolina, it's Larry Manley. In Coastal, it's Ben Jackson. We have Darren Gardner in Georgia, Trey Harris in Orlando, Jeff Gamboa in Florida United, and David Vargas in Puerto Rico. This is a dynamite division manager team. You want to get on their radar. Towards the end of the summer, your division manager will be conducting a one-on-one interview with those who are interested in being a part of the management training program, being a part of Leadership Academy. You'll want to be as impressive as possible between now and that time, not just by being impressive during the interview and wearing your best outfit, but by having strong results that you can talk about by the time of that interview. As an example, can you be at a place by the time of your interview later this summer where you can talk about having consistent sales weeks, where you're on the newsletter every week, as Jeff referenced, and not just selling $1,000, but having some $2,000 and $3,000 weeks. We have this SC2 push coming up. You may get invited to be a part of the SC2 Push Alliance. And by the way, the SC2 push is the Super Bowl push of the year. It's coming up on July 15th through August 2nd. So 3 weeks away. It's a 2.5-week push. If you want to be considered for future opportunities, it's important to be a part of the alliance that is committed to a big push effort. You want to go through the experience of really pushing yourself during that time period, seeing what you're capable of, and experiencing the growth that comes from being a part of the alliance. It's going to be important in getting on your DVM's radar to have strong SC2 push results. Ideally, you sell more during that 2.5-week period than any time that you've sold so far in your career. You can talk about that on your interview with your division manager. You'll, of course, want to be at SC2. That's on August 2nd and 3rd in Atlanta. It's going to be an incredible event. You're going to learn more about what's possible with future opportunities. You're going to learn a ton. There's going to be a chance to also fill out a questionnaire and earn an interview spot with your division manager coming out of SC2. Also, if you're interested in the branch opportunity, and Jeff alluded to this a little bit, you'll need to show that you are financially responsible and that and you'll be given an opportunity in the upcoming weeks to start the habit of withholding some of your earnings each week into a savings account to show that financial responsibility. You want to take advantage of that. And finally, if you're interested in future leadership opportunities, I would just challenge you to start acting as if you're in a leadership role. Look for opportunities to lead. It could be helping a rep on your team with something that they're struggling with. It could be taking a rep field training where they watch you do a demo. Could be speaking at a team meeting at some point this summer, or helping to build the team with personal recruits. That's taking on a leadership role within the team. And we have a Jamaica trip as an extra incentive for that as well. So ask your manager what you can do to help and give back and be a leader on the team. But these are all things that you can do over the next 6 weeks to be impressive and to be on the radar of your division manager between now and the end of the summer. In conclusion, and we'll wrap the call up just a couple minutes early here, I just want to thank you again, Jeffrey, for taking the time to talk more about opportunities that are available. for this group. I also want to echo what Jeff said and congratulate each of you on just being invited to being on this call, and applaud you for taking the time here on a Monday morning to be on this call. The fact that you were here, the fact that you're invited, it means your manager sees that you've got potential to actually be considered for these types of opportunities in the near future. If you're interested, let your manager know. And over the next 6 weeks, make a statement about your candidacy with your effort and especially your results during the SC2 push. Have a great week, everyone. By the way, this week right here, our focus region-wide is, can we make this our best week so far of the summer? We all had division meetings this last week. We learned a ton. It's an uninterrupted week. Let's make it the best week that we've had so far this summer. I look forward to seeing all of you in Atlanta in August. We're going to have a great SC2 event. Thanks again for your time, everybody. And
you guys are
have a
awesome.
great rest of the summer. Cheers.
You guys are awesome. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good